Hello, friends. Nick Cucci here, Executive Director of the Recording Academy New York chapter. I hope everyone is healthy and safe and adhering to social distancing and wearing a mask. Today, we're bringing you the next episode of Conversations, our series highlighting people and organizations making a difference in the New York chapter. Today's guest is Kevin Liles, CEO and founder of 300 Entertainment. Kevin has been at the forefront of music and culture for decades, and his achievements are so numerous it would be hard to mention them all here, but they include president of Def Jam, KWL Management, EVP of the Warner Music Group, a constant place in the Billboard Power 100, a New York Times bestselling author, and has worked with such top superstars like Jay-Z, DMX, Kanye, Ja Rule, LL Cool J, Ludacris, and Megan Thee Stallion, and so many others. As a philanthropist, he founded Liles for a Better Baltimore, which is his hometown, and the Make It Happen Foundation, and has been a constant and important voice for social justice. I can go on, but we should let Kevin speak for himself. Moderating today is Tracey Jordan. Tracey's the Senior Director of Talent and Industry Relations at SiriusXM Radio and Pandora, and a New York chapter governor, and a good friend. So Tracey, take it away.
Thank you, Nick Cucci. That was just amazing. And I am so thrilled to be here with one of my brothers from another mother, and one of the leading entrepreneurs and one of my best friends. And I am so proud of him, Mr. Kevin Liles. So happy to be here with you and to have this conversation with you. I know we're going to get so much out of it. Welcome, Kevin.
Thank you so much, and appreciate all the kind words. And through the many years, I'm just glad to see friendly faces and people who love what they do and love our culture.
I'm so happy to have you here. We're so happy to have you here. So I guess the first thing I want to talk to you about is how the coronavirus has really impacted the music business and the recording industry as a whole. Because it has changed so many things. And 300 is a label of artist development. And you have come through this with flying colors. And I want to know, how did you do that? How do you do that?
Well, first off, I don't know if it's flying colors or survival. But when we created the company, we wanted to have an organization that was built for anything. And Tracey, because you remember back in the day, Def Jam was built to handle anything. We were a business where people said no to rap music, no, we're not going to play your music. You know what? We're going to play your music only for one day on a Friday night. You know what? We're going to play more music and less rap. And now every radio station, we're the station of hip hop and R&B, we're this, and we have the #1 music. So being built for, how can I say, a pandemic, to me is the same as being built for what we built a culture on over the course of the last, 40 years. So I think the readiness came from a lot of preparation. Funny, we redid our office, and 6 months prior to Corona, we were all displaced anyway. So we had a centralized place where we come have meetings, but people were working from home. So we were kind of in that mentality then. And one of the things that we did immediately, and a lot of people didn't understand this, March 9th, we closed the office. It was before the governor or the mayor even said anything about closing offices. I felt the safety of our organization was more important than anything. And providing artists with, a foundation, a company that they could actually have the people that are not worried about whether they're going to have their job, or people worried about how they're getting back and forth, whether it's commuting. I just didn't want that. And so giving people the opportunity to work out of the comfort of their home was #1 to me. Then I look at all the things that have happened to different parts of our industry. And so the live business has changed in a way. And I like to give my prayers and my blessings to all of those. And I'm talking about from the stagehands, not just the big organizations, to those people who are currently trying to find different things to do and different things to work. So prayers and blessings to them. So you know that business is in a space. I don't know before vaccine what's going to happen. There've been some things around drive-in shows. There's a lot of great initiatives happening online. The super chat at YouTube, which you know we love, and a couple other shows that are coming up, all great. But it's nothing like going to see your artist live, getting dressed up, taking your friends, yelling, screaming, jumping up. It's nothing like that. So hopefully we'll be back to that soon. But I personally,
it's also a vital part of artist development is getting your young baby acts out there and having them tour. And for older artists, it's also the main revenue stream for them. Correct?
yes, it's everything. I'll say this. We're living our biblical times right now, and we all have to learn. Noah had to build the ark. You know what I mean? Moses had to come split the Red Sea, and so we got to figure out how we're going to continue to build this industry and work together. You know, I always said the new street is the internet. It's just that you can't feel and touch it like you are when you're performing live. When you're looking at that one fan and making them have that experience with you. 1,000 fans, 5,000, but that one fan that you're connected with, that person's life that you change. And I think the optimistic way to look at it too, as an artist, as a creator, you have to be more creative now and innovative on how you're engaging your fans. And so where we might have live artist development have been taken away, we're now innovating in a lot of different ways online to develop. So the artist development mentality, just because you can't do a live show doesn't mean you stop artist development. And so that's something that we take serious, and we're developing new tools and new initiatives online to adjust to the new times.
And something that 300 does so well and always has done so well. I admire your company for that, and you've always been one step ahead of everybody else. One of my favorite labels, if I was going back to work at a label, I would want to work at 300 because you have an incredible team of people there as well.
I would want you to work at 300, Tracey.
I love you for that. Not only has 300 taken care of their staff, but you've also outreach to the community and done a lot of community outreach during COVID-19 and done some incredible things. Can you talk a little bit about that and why that's so important?
The issue that, and people ask me this all the time, but when you live a life of a giver, and we're social responsible people. You can't work at 300 and not be social responsible. You can't work at 300 with your eyes closed and get a paycheck. You know, if my stomach hurts, your stomach has to hurt. So whether it's me seeing people go without being able to have their business getting hurt, I want to start a COVID relief fund for family, friends, and artists, that if there's a situation that comes up, there's a fund, because personal crises are important to me. Yes, we donated to the New York Food Bank, gave money there. And yes, we donated to the BET special and gave money there around it. Yes, we personally, individually donated different things. But more importantly, I wanted to provide stability for our artists and our staff. So what they didn't have to worry about, here's a promise that I made them. I said, no one will lose their job because of COVID. So think, number one, you're not worried about what's happening, whether you have a job or not. So you're not out trying to figure out. So number two, if there's a crisis in your family, so you're married, your wife is a frontline, whether it's catering or something, have her own bit. Now we're going to cover you through that. And with our artists, again, it's hard for you to even be signed to 300 if you're not a social responsible artist. So whether it's even down to Shy Glizzy in DC buying a food truck to feed first responders, it's not something we talk about all the time. Or when Beyonce and Megan got together and said, we're giving 50% of the proceeds to a charity in Houston. Two Houston girls coming together to say, we're going to give 50% of our proceeds. We're over $1 million in donations there, and it's still continuing. Whether it's Young Thug or Gunna or Fetty Wap in Jersey. All our artists have this sense, and this is millennials to me and young people that have this sense of being social responsible. So when people talk about what did you do through the pandemic, I'm like, well, what you've been doing your whole life. And to me, this is not, again, when you live for the greater good and greater God, and I sign artists for that, and I have the conversations with their parents, and I have the conversations with their friends, and try to instill in them the responsibility not just to be creative, but to think first that you're a human being. And so I just, where this might be new to people, social justice and other things that people tell us, this is a way of life for us at 300, and it's not something that I try to will on people, it's something I demand.
That's awesome. So for the artists that are already signed to 300, because everybody is moving forward, we're heading into fourth quarter, all the big releases are going to come out for Christmas season. You guys have always been ahead of the curve with streaming. But what about the recording process? I mean, how do you do that? I'm looking at what Megan Thee Stallion and Cardi B did, and I'm just like amazed at how that video was shot. How was that recorded? How were you getting her sophomore album prepped, right for Christmas? I mean, I'm sure it's going to come out around then, right?
Well, we're going to keep that a secret until she
I was trying to get a scoop. Okay.
But here's the thing. Another initiative that we said, creativity can never be quarantined. So in order for creativity to not be quarantined,
say that again.
Creativity cannot be quarantined. So whenever you in a situation where there are barriers around what you could do, you have to again innovate. And so with Meg, it was making sure she had an in-home studio. With other artists, it was locking out certain places for a period of time. With some artists, it was providing green screen and computers and a lot of other things that would enable them to be, with Johnny Stevens, one of my guys from Highly Suspect, if you look at his social engagement prior to this time, and looking at now, you'll see an increase of 30, 40%. And I'm talking across different platforms, Twitch, different, and it's because he was put in a situation where MCID, his fans, were the most important thing to him, and being vulnerable and being there for him. And so he wanted a mechanism to engage, because they were actually on tour in Europe. And because of COVID, if they didn't get back at a certain time, they had to cancel 4 or 5 dates. And it's more important that he's thankful to be alive and creating and with the rest of the band and doing great things. So I just look at it in my heart as somebody rings the doorbell. I just look at it in my heart as an opportunity for us to do what there's a lot of conversation around, because I never wanted to be called a label. I wanted to be a partner. Somebody that, whether it was getting through COVID, or making your first album, going on tour, I wanted to be that partner with experience, the partner with the mindset of an independent, but the muscle of a major, and more importantly, putting myself in the position that I think about, yeah, I have nice things, but what about the new employee that just moved to New York that's in a 700 square foot apartment? What's life like for her? What about the artist who is on the road 200 days a week, that because of COVID, how can we be of service? So really, to me, where other people are out here saying, well, you need a label, don't need a label, or you this or that, I'm looking at just providing a platform for our artists to engage and be of service to the people that love their music.
You were also one of the first labels to have like the 360 deals, where you would come in and you would have everything laid out for the artist, correct?
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that and why that's so important, because a lot of artists, when they get signed to a label, they don't know about all of the other avenues. And I think what 300 does is it really teaches them all of the different avenues. It teaches them branding, it teaches them licensing, it teaches them the importance of publishing. And that's one thing that you instill into your artists from the day that they're signed. And that is really to be commended in my humble.
I'm not a first-time executive. I kind of been around, and I was an artist myself. So through the mistakes that I made coming up, is one of the reasons why we're so passionate about learning the business of music and not just being in the music business, is to never have what happened to me happen to another artist. And the key is education. And our onboarding process is as how can I say, as strategic as getting a job at Google, or going or trying to get protocol to get into the White House. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's that thoughtful around who's your team, what do they know, whether it's a young manager, experienced manager, lawyer, and because we come from Lear and I come from a management thought process. It's never about just recorded music and publishing. It's about your team, and we'll look at artists, and if we feel they have a great team around them, we'll work with the team. If we feel there's some things that we should have a discussion about, we'll have it in front of everybody. How do we put the strongest team together? And people say, well, that's only you, but any true business structures, especially around an investment that they're making, that they structure the right business model, and all of them are not the same for everybody, whether it's a distribution deal, a royalty deal, a joint venture. You just have to be built to put the right infrastructure around the artists and the creators that are in your group.
The other thing about 300, and when you first launched, when it was you and Lior, when you started, I also noticed that not only were you developing music talent, you were also developing executive talent, because a lot of people that you guys hired and nurtured and trained have gone on to like incredible jobs. And it's just, it's wonderful to watch that, because you've raised so many young executives as well in the industry, and they're all now like at great jobs. So talk a little bit about that process too.
It goes back to treating people like I want to be treated, and providing them. You have when you're a CEO or leader of an organization, you have dual responsibility to their personal life and professional growth. And I think the responsibility with me being an intern and with the president, me being somebody that took a company private and public and private, and me being now on my fourth iteration of my life of starting 300, I always thought that we're in the people business. And so if you empower your people, you think about it. I can name you 5 assistants who are head of companies now. I could name you probably, well, I can give you examples. Salim is now the head of A&R for all of 300. Raina, from product manager, now the head of marketing for all of 300. Amy Vaughn, who was at Columbia for 17 years, is now the head of promotions. Dee and Shadow, who were independents, are now the head of promotion and streaming. I mean, I can go down the list of people, but here's the key, and I try to impose this on other organizations. You are as powerful as your people. So if your people feel empowered, see, my people feel that they could take risk and won't get in trouble for risk. My people are empowered. I tell them every day, I'm not here to run the company. I want the company to run. And if I want the company to run, you have to be empowered to make decisions. I actually sit in the conference rooms now and just raise my hand. Can I talk? I mean? I let them, I say, well, you run, these people run this meeting, this one run that meeting. And I'm really there as a sounding board. Now, not to say that I don't, how can I say, have conversations, and I don't, take moments out, learning moments. All that happens. But I have I set up the company where they know every single day, whether I make the right decision or wrong decision, Kevin's on my ass about making a decision. And that, to me, is how you build a great organization that's not afraid to fail, that looks at everything as a learning opportunity. And so I wish that more people, we can populate the world with leaders that are not afraid. I don't care about somebody taking my job. That's not, if somebody could take my job, then I'm not doing my job.
Right.
So I'm not afraid of anybody. I'm not afraid of hiring. best people. I don't care who, because I know me. I'm here, I have to add value every day. I wake up and ask myself, what's my value proposition to my company today? What's my value proposition to my artists? What's my value proposition to my wife? What's my value proposition to my kids? And so when you hold that to yourself and you lead an organization in the way where you even question, as a CEO, you question yourself. I know the very people that work for me that are empowered, that they question, what does it mean? What's my value proposition to power? What's my value proposition to the decision? And you know, some people have called us cultish, have said, you know, the way we operate, the way we think. We have a lot of independent thinkers. You know, if you ever come to a meeting of ours, there's a lot of you this, that, oh no, but when we come out of the meeting, trust me, there's a plan to take over the world, whether it's with an artist, whether it's with an executive, whether it's starting a new initiative. So I just applaud every artist and every employee, and hopefully I look forward to them continuing to run things. I want them to run it with me, but it depends on how big we decide to get at 300.
Oh my God, I could talk to you forever, but we've come to the end of part one, live from my kitchen dining room at my mom's house up in the mountains. But we are definitely going to come back for part two, Kev. I just love talking to you. And that was just brilliant what you just said, because you want to hire people that want to take your job, that want to learn your job and take over, because those are the people that are hungry and that are going to, you know, surge ahead and going to make it in this business, because you need that. And folks, we're coming right back with part two, so stay tuned. Live from Tracey Jordan's dining room up in Schoharie County.
And my library.
And Kevin's library, yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.